Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Walk and Talk Q&A. I guess that's the eighth episode, and today I want to talk about how to actually fight procrastination. A lot of people online talk about procrastination. How do you stop procrastinating? How do you start getting your work done and stop doing all sorts of meaningless things? And first of all, I don't really think that procrastination is such a bad thing. Usually, what procrastination does, or what it does for me, is that it's sort of my body or my mind sending me a signal that stuff that I'm doing should actually not be the stuff that the stuff that I'm doing. That it should not be the stuff that I really want to do. It sort of feels like my body or my mind telling me, "Hey, wait a minute, stop for a second. The stuff that you're doing is not something that you enjoy doing. That's why you procrastinate." So every time I was procrastinating on a bigger project, like writing a book, starting this or that, there was usually a reason behind it. And the reason was usually that I needed more time to come up with a better plan and stop for a second instead of really going to do it without really having a proper plan. So usually what it does for me, procrastination, is that I get my thoughts straight a lot better. I come up with all sorts of cool ideas and sometimes even better ideas that I didn't have before. So that's one thing that I feel um, is actually not so bad about procrastination. Another thing about procrastination is the fact that we procrastinate is actually not that bad. The bad thing is when we actually feel bad about procrastinating. So it's not the procrastination itself that kills us. It's just our mind, where it's like us telling over and over again that, oh, wait a minute, I should have done this, I should have done that, and then you feel terrible about yourself. So it's not really the procrastination that kills you. It's really being uncomfortable and sort of hating yourself for not getting your stuff done. So yeah, I guess it's really not that bad to procrastinate at all. So there's also a few ways how you can tackle procrastination. Something that I found out myself over the past few years. I'm probably a professional procrastinator. I procrastinate a hell lot, and but what I realized, what works pretty well for me, is to put myself into ridiculously hard environments or situations. For example, speak out loud that you're gonna start this and that project, and then you end up having so much pressure that you have to deliver something. So let me tell you a few examples. When I wrote my first book, that was summer 2013. I told everybody, I told on Facebook, I wrote on Facebook, everybody knew it, that I'm going to write a book. So I had a lot of pressure from everywhere, more or less. It was self-inflicted pressure, right? And because I told everybody I'm going to write a book, so I had to write a book. But because I was procrastinating so much, but I didn't want people to think that I'm not going to write a book, so I started writing a blog, actually, which I'm still doing today. It has become one of my biggest traffic sources, for example. So the fact that I pushed myself out there to do something ridiculously hard, like writing a book, specifically for someone like me who sucks at writing, um, I sort of found the smallest thing possible that I could do, which was writing blog posts. And I finally ended up also writing the book. Because the book, it took a lot longer than usually expected. So the second example where I put myself into a ridiculously hard situation was, and where it turned out to, where my procrastination actually turned out to be something really cool. Um, when I moved to China, when I started as an exchange student there, I pretty much tried everything so that I did not have to learn Chinese, because I knew that Chinese is super hard. So what I ended up is I did all sorts of different things just to not learn Chinese because I was too afraid of it, and I ended up teaching English in Chinese and Japanese companies. I ended up even starting my own business. Um, and that's another great example where my world-class procrastination led to something great. And everybody can do that. Just state something really, really crazy on Facebook. Say that you're gonna do X, Y, Z, and you're probably not gonna do it, or it's probably gonna take you a hell of a lot of time. But what in the end you'll end up is, for example, you start writing a blog, or you start a company maybe. And there's even the stuff that I'm doing right now, recording this video. The only reason why I'm doing it is because a few months ago on Facebook, I posted that I'm going to start a podcast. Actually, a daily podcast where I'm going to talk to all sorts of different people. But because I'm such a crazy procrastinator, I never really started the podcast, but actually will. I would just need a little bit more time. So what did I did as an excuse? I actually started making videos, like the ones that you're seeing right now. So it's also the reason why I'm doing it is because I was just too lazy starting this podcast, because it's actually a hell lot of work. But at the same time, I also get a lot of experience in talking freely, like what I'm doing right now, which will ultimately also help me with my podcast. So what it this comes down to what I said in the beginning. If you procrastinate, it's usually time that you can use to improve your skill or have better ideas, get a better plan of what you exactly want to do. So at the end of the day, I really think that we shouldn't see procrastination as something bad, because most of the time it does actually something good. It gives you a lot more. It gives you a lot more space, a lot more freedom to do, to think about your thoughts, and we shouldn't feel bad about ourselves if we procrastinate. Because it's usually our body that wants to tell us something, maybe to slow it down, maybe to think it through a bit better. And at the end of the day, really, how you can fight procrastination, at least how it works for me, is that you state something in public on Facebook, on Twitter, or wherever, where a lot of people see it, and then you are more or less obliged to do something, to show something. And what's going to happen, at least what happened to me, is that I sort of start something that's a lot easier first. I go a bunch of steps first, and push myself more or less to deliver something. At the end of the day, it doesn't really count what the end result is, but it really counts that you do something, that you improve, that you do one or two steps, so that you don't start the huge project right away, but that you start some smaller projects, you get your first steps done, right? And so that's my take on procrastination. Don't feel bad about procrastination. Just let it go. Don't feel bad about yourself. And yeah, try to start all sorts of crazy projects, which you will ultimately probably only start a few months later. But at the end of the day, you will deliver something, so you don't feel bad about it, or that people don't feel that you're a faker or something. All right, folks, that's my take on procrastination. Enjoy the day. Have fun procrastinating, and see you next time. Bye bye.